That's not bad.
My niece goes to school in Gonzales for
My hair was so red and right, that's all they have for is this law.
No, it's not. I have that's really
Oh, I thought. Good evening and welcome to tonight's City Council session. Today is April 2nd, 2019. The time is now 6 p.m. The meeting of the City Council of the City of Trinidad will now come to order. Would you please rise for the pledge of allegiance? Yes, would you please lead us in that?
Absolutely, Mayor. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can you have roll call, please?
Renato,
Here.
Goodall,
Here.
Griego, here, Lopez,
Here.
McKay,
Here.
Miles,
Here.
Rico.
Here. Tonight, we have a proclamation to read from the Office of the Mayor. Public Safety Telecommunications Week, April 14th to April the 20th, 2019. Whereas April 14th through the 20th, 2019 is National Public Safety Telecommunicators Appreciation Week, also known as Dispatcher Appreciation Week, and whereas our dispatchers are most often the first point of communication during the most desperate times that members of our community face. And whereas their ability to remain focused, calm, and properly relay critical information to the first responders is paramount to a positive outcome for those involved. And whereas our dispatchers are committed, hardworking individuals who serve as a vital link between our community, fire, medical, and law enforcement agencies, and whereas acting as a critical lifeline to the first responders, these unseen, everyday heroes are always there to answer the call. Now, therefore, I, Philip T. Rico, Mayor of the City of Trinidad, Colorado, on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim the week of April 14th through the 20th, 2019 as Public Safety Telecommunications Week. In appreciation for their selfless dedication to our community, and urge the community to recognize the important role dispatchers play in providing for a safe and healthy community. In witness hereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the city to be affirmed. Is there someone here from the group that can receive this? Thank you for everything that you do. So.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Council. Thank you.
Look over your way. Turn around.
Hold it up. There you go.
Item 2, approval of the agenda. Do we have any changes? Then could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
All vote, please.
Bernardo,
Yes.
Goodall.
Yes.
Griego. Yes. Lopez.
Yes.
Matei.
Yes.
Miles.
Yes.
Rico.
Yes. We have no policy item, or do we have any staff reports, Greg? Anybody? None? Okay. Item 4, petitions or communications roll written. Do we have signed up? I think we do. We have quite a few people here to speak tonight, and I just wanted to mention that, make sure that we stay within those 5 minutes.
Will do, Mayor.
We allow 5 minutes for speaking, so Les is our timekeeper, so he will let you know when to quit. So at this point, we'll begin. We have Rodney Coons. Please come forward.
First off, I'd like to thank the council for this opportunity and the commissioners for facilitating our chance to speak. I'd like to share some numbers with everyone. In the state of Colorado, the oil and gas industry returns $183,000 to this county. That's for all activities in the state. That's in severance taxes, and that's split up between the many entities. They return $122,000 in lease royalties, federal lease royalties. They return $10,000 for the schools. Now I'd like to share a few other numbers. Evergreen spends $42.2 million locally a year. That brings in $1.3 million in taxes and revenue for Los Animas County. And that's even gonna get more. We're gonna do, with the previous company, they did a lot of business in Texas. That's not gonna happen. Evergreen is a Colorado company. Some other amazing numbers, withholding taxes, $400,000. We have approximately 120 employees. I think the paper that was handed out says 100, we have about 120. Our payroll is around $9 million. We employ another 200 contractors. Together, conservatively, that's $25 million that flows into this community from our asset. That's money spent at the cafes, at the restaurants, the shops, McDonald's, Walmart, local businesses. Our employees are local people. I'm the furthest one out of state, but I live here also, and I think Rusty can attest to that. We will pay very shortly $2.15 million in property taxes. Next year, the same thing. The schools will receive $1.1 million of that, compared to the $10,000 that the state sends back. $175,000 for ambulance services, $175 for fire services, $207,000 for ambulance services, $670,000 for the county. I do want to go back to the employees. These are people who live here. Most of you guys know someone that works at our asset. They're good people. We've invited commissioners, we invite anyone to look at our leases. There's nothing, I know the House, or Senate Bill 181 speaks of health and safety. I wish they'd be more specific, because we have probably the safest industry in the county, possibly the state. We're 1,500 days without a vehicle accident. We've had one accident in a year, and that amounted to a broken finger. Oil and gas is not from the 1960s anymore. And I know that's the way it's being portrayed. It's a very clean, good industry to work in. it's a good vocation for the young people that are here. It's a place where they can buy a home, they can stay here, they can live in this community. We do appreciate the help of the council, the help of the commissioners, the support we've received from local citizens. All of it is very much appreciated, and we appreciate the chance to speak and share with the group our contributions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Blake, two, I think that's how you pronounce it.
That's okay. Blake Bile.
Bio.
Good evening, folks.
Bio.
Bile, correct.
Looks like a T.
Again, I appreciate
There's-
the opportunity to speak.
There is some buttons by your right hand that will raise that up if you need it.
I'm fine. I'm not going to be here long enough to
There
use
you
it.
go.
You
You
got a
got
lot
people
of
in the
people
back
on the
can
list?
hear you too.
Okay, that'll work. You got a lot of people on that list, and I don't want to belabor the point. I'm a former superintendent at Kim School District. I'm the current principal at Primero. I'm here with my school board president and vice president, here to show support for the oil and gas industry in the state of Colorado, and obviously our local industries as well. I've done a lot of research on 181 since the defeat of 112 in the fall. I know a lot of people say they're not linked, but some of the motivation in my mind is linked, and you just heard some of the financial truths of the matter and what this is really going to mean to our community, our kids, my school, and the people that live here. Again, I'm not sure right now, as probably many of the people in the audience, what exactly the city council or even the county government of Trinidad can do in light of this bill, and that's not for discussion right now. I just want to show my support. I want to extend that. I want the city council to know that every student that I represent tonight probably has a vested interest in this as well. All the teachers, all the staff in the school. And again, I can't really go into the details as much as Evergreen can, but we're all linked into this. And personally, I don't like the way this legislation is going through. Again, you can look at that and say it's an issue outside of the venue for tonight, but 112 was defeated, rightfully so. The way that this legislation is going through the state right now, I feel is not prudent. It's not in the best interest of our whole state. To me, it seems like it's a pet project for local people in a place that don't understand the ramifications on a statewide level, especially when you get away from the Denver-Boulder area. So again, wanted to show my support, wanted to make sure that it's not just the industries here, it's the folks here, it's the people here, it's the students here, it's the lifeblood of Huerfano County. I've lived in Huerfano and Los Angeles area, in Los Angeles County for the last 20 years. I'm a property owner. I have a vested interest from other aspects as well, not just from my profession. But this has got far-reaching ramifications, and it needs to be spoken to. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to bring you up last, if that's okay? Sure, that's fine, get last. Dr. Kerry Hart?
Honorable Mayor, esteemed council members, and city staff, I'm Kerry Hart. I'm interim president of Trinidad State Junior College. And while I'm here in Trinidad, I just wanted to take an opportunity to express my appreciation for your leadership and all that you do for this city. And the partnership that Trinidad State has with the city of Trinidad is very impressive. I'm from Colorado. I've been in and out of Trinidad ever since I was in high school. I've at least seen it peripherally. And I served as the president of Oregon Community College in the Colorado Community College system for 9 years. And several years ago, there was an economic impact study that was done that showed with Trinidad State, for every dollar that's spent at TSJC, it generates $7 back into the community. And I know that you know that TSJC is an economic driver in the city and in the county. And I appreciate that partnership, and I see, even though I'm a short timer here, I see an incredible vision for the future with a partnership between the city and with TSJC. Some of the things that are, to me, are low-hanging fruit are the space to create, and with Fisher's Peak, as far as revitalizing the arts at Trinidad State and making Trinidad a vibrant arts community on that space to create, and also with some of our science and wellness and and physical education programs for Fisher Peak. And I know that you're fully aware of the pillars that sustain Trinidad State with our academic transfer, with our career tech ed programs, where students can go right out into the workforce after a certificate, 2-year degree. We also are very proud of our customized training for business and industry, and also with lifelong learning. And I just want to let you know that in the future, I see a very bright future with Trinidad State and with the city of Trinidad. And I know that the best days are ahead for both the city and for Trinidad State. And while I'm here, I had to take this opportunity to just say thank you and appreciate your leadership and everything you do for TSJC.
I just wanted to say, I've had a few conversations with you, and thank you for those, and I enjoy your passion as well in helping us out, and good luck in your retirement, I guess you could say.
Right, I'll try not to fail at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Jermaine and Mary Jo?
Hello, council and mayor. Thank you for letting us speak tonight. Most of you know me. I'm Mary Jo Baudino, and I am the president of the Trinidad Autism Awareness Group. And I'm here tonight to introduce Jermaine. I'm gonna pass those out.
Yeah.
She's having an open house on at the new Edward Jones building. That is what she purchased for us for our new ADA services that I've been talking to you guys so much about. But I just wanted to share, today is Autism Awareness Day, so we're wearing blue. Thank you guys so much, in honor to wearing blue. I really appreciate you guys doing that. I did have a meeting the other day with the Southern Colorado Development Disability Group, and have been talking with some of their behaviorists that work with group homes. And they have told me that they're dealing with 2 20-year-olds right now with autism that had to be placed in this group home due to not having these services. And so it seems like, and I don't know where this happened, but that Trinidad has kind of dropped the ball on some of this with our autistic kids and our disabled children. And so I'm hoping to pick up those pieces, and so this won't happen in the future. Hopefully we won't have those children having to go to a group home. We'll be able to service them here in town and give them the services they need so they can function in society, because a lot of them are really smart and can really function if we find their niche and get these behaviors under control. So I'm here tonight to welcome Jermaine, and we're just blessed to have her. So here's Jermaine. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Everyone's wearing blue. I love it.
Yes, we're so excited.
Yes. So I'm the owner of the company Consultants for Children, and my name is Jermaine Sufert. I'm a licensed counselor, and I started the company in 2002. I work with kids with autism around the state of Colorado, providing in-home and in-center opportunities for those who are able to be in center. And we try to improve kids in ways that they need. They're all so different. Kids are just, they're whoever they are. But we try to find the things that they excel at and use those to motivate kids to not do the things that they maybe are, some kids have self-injurious behaviors, some kids steal, some kids, they don't necessarily have the awareness that typical kids do. And so we try to use some of their assets and improve their deficiencies. And we do that using health insurance. Medicaid covers our services. All health insurances in the state of Colorado cover. And some of our kids get as much as 40 hours a week of services because they're that intense. Some kids are even 2-to-1s because of aggression or those self-injurious behaviors. And so I just want people to know that we're here. We also do social skills groups and lower, like parent training when the intensity isn't necessary. We can, do smaller amounts for the less intense programs that we run. But I want people to know that we're here, ask questions if they have them. It may be that we just have some resources that we can help with. We're here.
Thank you, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Coulter?
Coming out of the chute over here. Thank you for allowing me to speak here, everybody. You all know me personally. I'm here on SB 181. I want to give you a little history. I started doing a little bit of research this morning because it was 10 years ago, lacking 20 days, that Governor Ritter gutted the oil and gas the first time. At that time, our company was the second largest private employer in Los Alamos County under Pioneer. We had employed at that time 325 people. Within a month of Ritter signing that bill on the oil and gas regulations, one day I laid off 200 employees. Within 3 months, I laid off almost another 100 employees. And within that 3 months, I sold 56 pieces of my equipment at auction, because that's the devastation that caused. We came close to filing bankruptcy because of it. We're finally on stable ground. We finally have a good friend to all of us back in the community, Mr. Mark Sexton, that has a lot of plans in this valley to help out not only us and the rest of the people that are out here are pretty much oil and gas people. And you know, with all his plans that he has for possibly a gas-fired power plant that would help drop the price of electricity in this area here, the contributions he's already made to Trinidad School District with donating a badly needed pickup, helping our district, which is in Primero, with whatever we need up there. I call Mark Sexton a friend because he's really, truly cares about this community. He always has. Evergreen 1, he did whatever he could, and previous city council members that was sitting here when he was Evergreen 1, if they'd listened to him, you'd be in control of your own natural gas, because he wanted the city to own their own natural gas off their own property that they have up there. They wouldn't trust him. He has great things for this community. These people out here, all of them, we got other service companies, and we got their employees, we got my employees. We all get our paychecks from that field up there. Our school districts count on the tax basis. There's the president and the vice president of Primero and their principal right there. We count on that money. Trinidad School District counts on that money. We spend our money here. I know in our company, we spend every dime we can in this community. Everything, from parts to whatever. Some parts we can't get here. But I make sure that we spend every dime we can here because it employs local people. And that dollar turns around right here. So what I'm asking you guys to do, and it's a big step, because this administration is pushing this bill through without even asking the people that are in the industry to come to the table. And that's not right. They're shoving it down our throats, and that's not right. This city needs the oil and gas industry. This city needs it in the real way. It's not the industry it once was, but it could be. And if they continue to gut it like this state's going to lose billions of dollars and people. I'll give you a perfect example. I saw an energy truck parked at Taco Bell. Well, they parked at Taco Bell. When they came in, I said, "Where are you headed?" He said, "We're going to Texas." I said, "Where are you coming from?" He said, "We're coming from the Greeley area." He said, "Our boss is already sending us to Texas, and it hasn't even passed yet." So I'm asking you guys to make a stand with us, because these are your neighbors, and these are the guys that pay the taxes in this city and in this county. One more thing, as a county administrator and the county commissioner, they're gonna hand this to the counties to make a decision. And now, as a taxpayer, I'm upset because it's gonna cost us tax money for the county to hire somebody qualified to oversee the gas industry. So, I'm just asking for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. James Stewart? James Stewart?
Sir James Stewart, Doctor.
James Stewart?
Are we here?
I see someone this way.
Hello, glad
State your name, please.
James Stewart. I've worked in the oil and gas industry since June 1st, 1982. I've worked my way up from roustabout all the way up to like pumpers, then on up to that in the oil field side. I worked in the oil side up in the northwest corner, then moved down here with Pioneer, and I really like it here, and I want to keep working in the oil and gas. That's what I lived my life for. I got almost 37 years in it, and I really hope we keep going in it. My mother-in-law is thinking of moving to Trinidad right now because she wants to be down here and keep going. And her husband worked over 40 years, or almost 50 years in the oil and gas, so we really need to keep us going.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Courtney Larson? Is Courtney Larson here?
Courtney Larson?
She out there? Nobody?
Anybody there, David? Doesn't want to speak. Okay.
David Gonzalez?
David Gonzalez.
David Gonzalez?
No, they just thought you had to sign in to come.
Oh, okay. Elise Spence?
Hi, I'm Elise Spence, and I'm trying to do an organization called Feed the Kiddos. It is a donation. I'm trying to set up boxes all around town to put food cans in there or clothes for these children that need it. Because I noticed that even at McDonald's, there are these tiny little boxes for change. Nobody notices them. Nobody puts anything in them, rarely, and there's, it's not really much to help. So I wanted to do something more. This whole project started off as a cereal box project in my 6th and 7th period reading in English. I did my presentation, and my teacher said, you can actually make this a real thing. I sat on it, and I'm trying to make it happen. These are my fellow students that are in my class, and I am trying to put this together as much as I can. There are big things that impact us, but the meaning behind the fear, enjoyment, and surprise that those starving children get are scary to think about, or want to make us cry to think about. Me speaking as a kid, I'm extremely lucky to have food on the table and clothes on my back, and to even take a shower. Or for every single one of us in this place to have change that we can throw into the corner of our dressers. Or to say, I have so much change I need to get rid of it. Us saying this makes us the luckiest people in the world to have jobs, change, clothes, and a roof over our heads. We can't help with everything, but we can help with food and clothes. And this is what I want to do to help the kids of Trinidad, Colorado. Now, I am not asking you for money at all. We have those donations. We have those donations already. What I am asking of you is guidance and help and location to put these boxes where. And I have everything. Grand Rental is helping us put up the boxes and export these boxes to empty them, and I have a meeting with my principal and vice principal next week to see if we can use the school for sorting. And also, we are trying to get every single kid or as many people as we can at Trinidad Middle School to help us. And we need as much help as we can get, and any help from anyone. Any questions?
Not any questions, but Greg, is there anybody that maybe she can contact within the city to help her?
You're at the junior middle school.
Yes.
Have you heard of the minor backpack program?
No.
Okay. Charles Glorioso, the chief of police, and his wife have what they call the minor backpack program. And they collect food, and then all week long, and then at the weekend, for those that don't have food at home, they send this backpack home for the food. I really wish you would contact Chief Glorioso or Mrs. Glorioso if she's a teacher. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay. Contact her and ask her, because I think you guys could collaborate. More groups together can make a bigger impact. All right?
Elise and the two ladies that we have with you, especially you, thank you for your passion, and hopefully that you can make this work, and evidently it's beginning to work, so good luck.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I applaud your initiative. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Thank you.
I'm going to say one other thing, you know, it's so nice to see young people develop a passion for something, and you know, that's something that I keep looking at in our community, for young people to step up to the plate, so thank you for doing so.
Thank you.
Mr. Manager. Thank you. I'm very proud.
They have another name here, I'm not sure if it's, there's a Mr. Mays, I guess? Can't understand what the first name is.
Troy?
Troy Mays? You Troy Mays?
Yes, my name's Troy May. I'm with Evergreen Natural Resources. I've been with them for about 19 years. I'm an intermissions tech, and I would like to say that this SB 181 is trash, and you know, we need to understand that people don't come down here and see this part of southern Colorado where we work, and it's a lot different than Denver. So we're a tight-knit group. We take care of our properties. There's a lot of animal resources, water that people don't know about down here. And if this bill passes, all that'll go away. Like you said, everybody started moving toward Texas. And I'd like to say, with this bill, people don't understand how it gets snuck through. And I would like to see you guys, you know, really work on it and get it out of there. I work with Fish Peak Fire Department. They lend equipment to us, help us out through the counties, take care of your wildland fires and your structural fires. And that's about all I have to say, but you know, thank you very much.
I thank you. Commissioner Lopez, Felix Lopez.
Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, City Council, thank you so much for the opportunity to allow us to be here today. My name is Felix Lopez, County Commissioner. Take a few minutes of your time and go through the process of Senate Bill 181. I know there is a lot of questions, pro and con. But one of the things that we have as elected officials, I believe is, you know, my personal opinion, we understand it is an obligation to defend the citizens of our county and to stand for what is not quite so right. This bill is going through the process and creating anomalies throughout the entire process. We had an opportunity to speak with both our Senator Crowder and Representative Kim Lewis. And last Thursday night, Kim Lewis went to the floor of the Senate basically proposing amendments, if you will, amicable solutions to the bill, and every one of those was pretty much refuted and rescinded and walked away. So I want to give a shout out to both our senator and our representatives, simply because they believe that communities like ours are standing strong because of the help that we get from the oil and gas industry. I'm going to go through a little bit of a list of who are some of the recipients of this, and pardon the redundancy, we've heard from the other presenters as well. But the bill is titled Protect Public Welfare Oil and Gas Operations. And I like the word protect, because that's, I believe, is our responsibility. As the Board of County Commissioners, we're here in front of you today asking you to join with us to stand and oppose this bill. We'd like to send a letter to the governor simply stating that this bill could have been done in a different manner, that the way it stands is not good for our communities. I think he has the power of the pen, vetoing the bill and sending it back to, or simply just doing away with it. Senator Stephen Ferber, Mike Foote, and Representatives Becker, Casey Becker, and Yadira Caravillo actually have a responsibility, but not a responsibility for the 13 counties that passed Proposition 112. Back in November, the voters, 55% of the voters said no to Proposition 112. And a lot of people are saying this is not Proposition 112. No, it's not. It's more than. Because in a sense, it's actually reaching out way far into the counties to overregulate these industries. Now, we're hearing all this information that you're getting here tonight, and it might not happen overnight. But eventually, these oil and gas producers will begin to start looking at other states where oil and gas regulations are a little bit more friendlier. So as elected officials, on behalf of my commissioners, Commissioner Luis Lopez and Tony Haas, we're standing in front of you tonight and asking for your support on this opposition of the bill. If you see tonight working as a unit, city and county, which by the way, Mayor, thank you so much for reaching out. And so we have had a couple of dialogues on other issues that are going on throughout the city. How do we partner and create welfare, community, and economic development for the city and county of Los Angeles? That's what we're here for. The local economy is stable. We don't need to add any additional regulations to set us back again. It is so imperative to protect the future of our community. And we are working together, local, with our gas operators, and yes, we're going to keep them accountable, and they know that. But they are doing well. As you all know, my story, education is so important to all of us. And education can transform the lives of any and all citizens. Right now, we have 3 school districts that would be impacted. So in a sense, we're going to be impacting the most indefensible of all, the children of our schools, by taking away some of these funds that would be coming through. Is $1.1 million that are actually going through the school districts.
Rusty, could you ask those people out there to kind of hold it down, please?
So in a sense, $1.1 million or thereabouts that would be taken away from school districts. What is that going to mean for Trinidad, for Aguilar, for Primero? Those are some of the things that we are looking at and saying, no, this bill is not for Los Angeles County, this bill is not for us. Because Amendment 23 in the School Finance Act many years ago had an opportunity to backfill. When you took away taxes, they had an opportunity to backfill. That doesn't exist anymore. So we are, in a sense, already hurting as a community when it comes to education. This is an opportunity that we'll have to take, and we must stand strong together. Let me share with you some of the other entities that are going to be impacted. Trinidad Ambulance District, the town of Cokeville, Fisher Street Fire Department, Bon Carro Fire Department, Stonewall Fire Department, the Purgatory Water Conservation, the Purgatory River Water, just to mention a few of those entities. Everyone is benefiting, whether it is from the ad valorem taxes or the assessed valuations. When the oil and gas industry begins to walk away from Los Animas County, right now Los Animas County receives 28% of the of our fund comes from the assessed valuation of the county. And, or let me translate that to you all, it's $910,000 there are approximately that we receive from this entity. What are we gonna do? We need to plan and continue to work. And when I say continue to work, the bill is gonna probably pass fairly soon and be at the governor's desk in days or weeks to come. But we must send the message and tell him, Governor, take a look at that. Veto it, send it back, and let the voters of the state of Colorado, as I did in November, make a decision for all of us. Because one size does not fit all. These 13 counties that approved it did not yield but 45% of the vote. 55+% of the voters in November said no to this thing.
30 seconds, Commissioner. 30 seconds here, 5 minutes is all this.
Thank you. I was gonna say, you know, this is pretty important. So
Sure, I understand this, just, okay, well, sorry.
So, let me, so I'm painting, if you will, the perspective for the local economy. We had a letter from Gary Mestas, a family that receives royalties. And with the less production of these gas wells, even the royalties are beginning to decrease. These are people that are on fixed incomes, that are making their livelihood through the oil and gas. But let me remind us, and I'm gonna close this with, for the local perspective, the Department of Natural Resources and the Department of Local Affairs get the funding from the severance taxes that are collected on the oil and gas producing counties. So when all of us write a grant through DOLA, guess where the money's coming from? From the oil and gas producing counties. So without being offensive, those counties that are not oil and gas producing counties are playing a little bit of a double statement, two-step, because they're applying for DOLA grants, yet they don't want the counties that are producing the oil and gas to really maintain that industry the way it is. That's a little bit hypocritical to me. So the whole perspective is that those non-producing counties are still enjoying DOLA grants, and the natural resources is the water projects that we have all throughout the state. So I wonder what's going to happen in the event that this industry would go away. That is the local perspective, that is the local picture. Without sounding redundant to the whole thing, I would like to certainly just mention a few bullets and answer any questions, if I may, if my time allows to do that. That Evergreen Natural Resources gave us and passed away, and Mr. Dorenkamp actually has a copy of these financial statistics to share with all of you. Exactly what's happening here in Los Animas County, what is the impact, and so on. Right now, statewide, we are collecting over between wages, direct and indirect revenue for the state of Colorado, it exceeds $10 billion. Depending who you ask, that figure is, I have seen it as high as $13 billion from the production of oil and gas. So, ladies and gentlemen, without extending the time too long, I want us to focus on our community. I want us to focus on the stuff that is happening, that 89,000 employees are employed throughout the state of Colorado in the oil and gas industry. Nearly about 30,000 of them are directly involved with the oil and gas. And let me mention this to you, that the average wage, and this is the average wage for the directly involved employee on the oil and gas, it's about $100,000. So I'm a little bit concerned as one of the county commissioners that got elected to serve the citizens of Los Animas County. I think this issue is not necessarily just a county issue, but it's an issue that's going to impact city and county right here in our backyard. So once again, I want to thank you so much for the time. I want to thank all of you. And if you have any additional questions, please reach out. And I would urge all of us here to act promptly, because I know that the governor will be dealing with this, and I hope that by a miracle, we can go back to the drawing board and take a look at some of the amendments that were proposed, why they were rescinded, and recognize that the opportunity lies therein with those counties that are producing. Let's begin the communication with us, even though this might be the fourth quarter, and the game is, we're down by 2 points, but I still think that we can do something about it. So thank you so much. Any questions that I might be able to answer?
And I think what we're gonna do in this case, this is such an important issue, and I think that we should get some comments probably from council. I don't see if there's, I talked to Audra about that yesterday, and she didn't seem to have an issue with that, correct, Audra?
I'm actually having, oh yeah, now,
Comments,
oh,
yeah,
sure.
having comments now. So if you want to start with Mr. Matei.
I think that the facts speak for themselves, and everyone did an eloquent job in presenting the position. My question is, are you proposing a joint venture to the governor's office, city council, and county commissioner together, or would you prefer that we draft our own letter?
Let me relate to you one of the letters that went to the governor's office that was drafted by the city and county of Pueblo.
Okay.
And they actually invited some of the businesses that are gonna be impacted indirectly by the regulations that are gonna pass. So I would, at this point in time, as long as we're one voice, I think would be stronger than having two different letters going, two documents. And in conversations with Dr. Aaron from the school district and the superintendent, Nacarado, and we're all concerned about this whole thing. They're also willing to sign this document that we will be sending out.
Well, having yet to discuss and approve such an action,
Yes.
I personally support it and will endorse it.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I agree with Councilman Matei. I mean, I'm a business person in Trinidad, and I've seen the ebb and flow from the coal and now the gas and oil. I felt it in my business, and I sincerely understand the impact that this bill would put on this community, and I'm in total support of that as well.
Thank you, Madam President. Ms. Lopez.
I definitely see what's resonating with the community. I do have some questions, though, I'd like to ask, because I have been looking into this bill, and I realize that it does give a lot of local land use codification and clarity to the language that is being proposed in Senate Bill 181, which would give, if the local land use authority chose to, the ability to regulate. From what I've been told from my counterparts at the Colorado Municipal League is that localities don't have to pursue any further regulations. So I would like to discuss more with you about what your thoughts are pertaining to that, because should this bill go through, Los Animas County does not have to do anything. And that could also open up a door for us to be a more inviting community for the gas industries if others choose to shut them out.
Well, thank you so much for the question. However, if the bill passes the way it stands, we might not have to do anything at this point, present time, but the door is open for future elected officials to come in here and actually, because they would be against the oil and gas, to actually execute the powers given back in 1974, House Bill 74-1041 gave county commissioners what we call 1041 powers. So what this bill is saying, they want to give local jurisdictions, county commissioners, if you will, and/or if those gas explorations are within the city, I would imagine that would apply as well. So the vagueness of this particular paragraph that you're referring to, Councilman Lopez, is really pretty scary to me, because it leaves the door wide open, certainly without any opportunity to close it later on. So this might not be immediate, but nonetheless, the president is going to be set. And what the bill actually does is, right now the current commission has 9 members, but it's going to expire, it's going to sunset, and all those, then we're going to go to a 7-member commission, and only one of those members would have to be what we call a subject matter expert in the oil and gas production, which is a little bit scary. 5 appointed by the governor, then you have the director of natural resources and the director of health and human the environment. would be those basically at large, or if you will, ex officio. But the way it's written right now, they will have voting action as well.
Right. And currently, the gas commission has that, and they're based out of people from the industry, correct?
Correct.
So they have been a very big proponent of the industry, as opposed to, and this is, I'm paraphrasing what I've been told, versus a regulatory agency. So my concerns are for the ability for localities in subjective matter to be able to regulate themselves without having to go to another larger entity when if they choose to. And again, you hit on a point where if these commissioners come in and they are able to change that subject, I would think that the people would let them know if they do not like that or not when they go to the voting polls.
And that's exactly what we're trying to tell the governor and his team. The
Okay.
people want to let him know.
Okay?
Okay?
I would still like to have some more conversations.
Absolutely. Please reach out to me at any point in time. I read this bill. I have it in my billfold with about 50 pages highlighted, document back and forth, so I'll be more than glad to entertain that.
Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Miles.
Yeah, I'll just add to what you said and say that, you know, some of the things that are said here tonight are very compelling. And sometimes the harm is done before the I's and the T's are dotted on the legislation. And a lot of people misinterpret legislation, but all they see is an attack on their livelihood. And somebody got up here and spoke about crews already moving to Texas. I mean, it can be too late to shut the barn door after the horses left. And that's my concern. I haven't lived in Trinidad all my life, as most of you have. But one thing I have seen since 2006, when I moved here, is a consistent pattern of communities like this losing their voice. I have a great deal of concern about this administration up north. First, we're losing control over our electoral votes, and now we're losing local control over our own resources. And that fears me and troubles me a lot. And I'll leave it at that.
Madam House, so I don't, without expanding into other bills that are going to be impacting our state, I want to keep it to Senate Bill 181. But I totally agree with your comments that sometimes too fast, too quick, too soon, it's not good for the citizens of the state of Colorado. So thank you so much for your comments.
I'm in full support of signing a letter.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say, Mr. Lopez, I was born and raised here, like many of our council members sitting up here today. And we have gone through where we have seen a lot of the good times and we've seen a lot of our bad times. As we looked at the coal mining and where our forefathers built the city by doing coal mining. We always thought that coal mining would never go away, and the effect that happened to Trinidad when our mines did close. And then with the drilling wells that came, we had that back again. And it was such a good, fulfilling thing that Trinidad gained a lot of respect and a lot of show that we, the people of this city and the people in the gas industry, respect this town. After the gas closed, after they went away again, it kind of set us back down. But what I'm trying to say tonight, I just want to say to all the people that are in this gas industry, I have always supported you. I will support you in anything that we have to do, because I see the reasoning to help you people, your family, this city and this county, and especially our school district. So anything I could do, Mr. Lopez, thank you, and thank you for showing up.
Thank you so much, and I think your comment of it's our voice.
That's right.
That's the most important thing. Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
You know, back in February, I attended a Colorado Municipal League meeting, which I'm a member of, for the city of Trinidad. And this was discussed pretty widely, and there was a lot of opposition to it. There was also some pro for it. I believe that this legislation is being pushed through too fast. And it's not making any sense. And there's been amendments tried they've tried to put some forth. And they've been rejected. I guess I'm not sure if they've accepted any at all. I know it's back in the Senate hands at this point in time. But I can see with the number of people that are here tonight And I knew that they would be here, simply because this impacts their livelihood. They probably don't understand every aspect of what is in this bill. And they're relying on those of us that have been able to read this legislation to be able at least to show our support for them. And that's the reason why they are here tonight. That's the reason why you are here tonight, to ask us for your support, for our support as well. And I think it's essential that we do that. Because if we cannot stand in our community for our residents, not only in the city of Trinidad, but in the entire Los Angeles County, we're not really doing our jobs either. So we need to recognize what this legislation could do for our local economy and for the individual people that work in the fields. So I thank you for coming tonight and speaking to us.
Thank you.
And it sounds like there are some people here that are willing to sign off on that letter, and probably using the same letter that you have drafted. So I'll talk to Mr. Sund about that and we'll see what we could do. Does anybody have any further comments or questions?
I thought we were gonna do a joint.
Yes.
It'll be a
Joint letter.
a joint letter, yes.
That's gonna be soon. Is it possible?
It's gonna have to be done
This
quickly.
isn't, we can't take an action at this point, though, to state that. I would like to maybe have a work session or any other special meeting where we could come to a decision following proper protocol.
Les, what's your thoughts?
It is a decision, Mayor. I mean, you are making a decision collectively to take this action. It's rather informal. You call on council to have their opinions. I would prefer to have it, like as an agenda item, but it is of an informal nature. You've said what you're going to be doing. I think it's okay for you to agree to sign off on a letter. I would prefer it, if we do have a special meeting, to have it as an action item so that we can actually vote on it and maybe more freely discuss it amongst yourselves. I mean, I don't know if all of the other members of council were expecting being called on tonight. Seems like everybody was fine with that, but it may be that people want further discussion and you may just want to have it as an agenda item before making a decision.
I think the big issue here is time is of the essence, and that's the issue that we're faced with right now.
Can we have a special meeting at sometime like
This week?
this week sometime, or?
When do you think it might go back to a vote to the Senate?
Friday.
Friday?
Yeah.
You could probably have it Thursday. And
Could you possibly sign it as individuals and not as a group of city council, as the city council members individually?
Yeah, they can do that. I don't mean to interrupt.
So
I think though, if we do sign this, it would have more impact if we collectively signed it versus individual letters.
Yes.
It shows more of a united front, if that's what we.
Yeah.
No, but it's individual council members, we can sign the joint letter.
That's what she said.
Right.
That's what's been.
I know she's not sorry to do it.
Is that what you're
No,
getting at?
that's what,
I'm sorry.
Okay.
do you see any issue with that?
I don't. If you're.
So we
signing
sign, Phil Rico, Mayor, City of Trinidad?
That's fine.
That's fine.
It's not
Just alongside the three county commissioners.
So what we'll do is, let me follow up with you tomorrow. I'll call you directly and give you an idea. I'll talk to our council, get a letter, maybe the two of you can put it together and we can send it out.
That'd be great.
Okay?
The reason why I bring that up is,
Yes.
for the next couple of days, I'm gonna be tied up quite a bit. So, putting the meeting together is gonna be tough. And, I'm only talking for myself, the rest of us are probably in the same boat.
I could do it Wednesday or Friday.
No, we can't do it, it's too late.
Have a special meeting.
Tomorrow is
Well, I could do it Friday.
They need a letter before
They need
that.
a letter
This
before
is sign off.
So I think let's just do the individual, so.
Yeah.
So get us, talk to me tomorrow, okay?
I think, my opinion is, that the strength of our voice and opinion would be stronger if we as a group from Trinidad City Council, compared to being an individual, although the same, I guess, is accomplished, but I like the idea of us as a council making this public statement. More importantly, I question the need for another meeting. As we have discussed among ourselves here, there are at least 5 of us who support this, and maybe 6. That wasn't my intention. I don't see the need to be belabor the time issue. And I know it's not on tonight's agenda, but it became a topic of discussion by virtue of all the presentations. And I think if it's appropriate, we should act on it now, swiftly and decisively, and be on about our business.
I think, yeah, but as long as we don't go against the charter or whatever, we could still make a decision. If it's not, Audra, correct me if I'm wrong. or-
You're the attorney, sir.
Is it lawful to entertain a motion, a second, and a vote to do this tonight?
It's not.
It is not.
It is not. Sorry, it's an action item. You're wanting to take action.
I understand.
Yeah, and I understand the popularity. I don't mean to be the, object of everyone's ire in the room, but even though it's unpopular, it's not legal, and you should not take action on an item that hasn't been posted.
So it's not like, signing off individually might be.
Okay, right,
So whatever it takes to make it happen,
All right,
do what I
let's
want
do
to
it.
do.
Okay.
You're not gonna count 6 signatures versus 7, we're just gonna see.
Right.
So 5 versus 7.
Okay.
Put a letter down here, let
Thank
us
you.
know, we'll stop by and get her signed.
Thank you
So
very much.
sign me.
Okay, I think I do.
I wanted to thank everyone that is here tonight for your interest in this legislation, because as we've all heard and we've all been keeping track of the impact that it can have in not only our local economy, but the economy across the state of Colorado. So, thank you
Mayor and
for
council,
coming.
we'd like to ask you guys to come up to the office and visit and take a tour of our facility when you guys get a chance on a day off or whatever.
Maybe we can do that on a tour.
It doesn't have nothing to do with the bill. We'd like you to come and tour our facility.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we have one more item on local communications. And that is Mr. Luis Lopez, on the Los Angeles County request for funding for jail camera system.
It's only taken 2 years of being in office, we get a whole board of county commissioners and a whole city staff together.
Better late than never,
Right?
That's a sign that we're moving forward, sir. Things are getting
What
better.
I'm giving you guys is just a little bit of our budget overview for Los Angeles County and our sheriff's jail budget. And the funding mechanism we have in there. We did a tour about 2 months ago, Greg, of our jail facility, which has been crumbling for a number of years. We have funding available through the 1 cent sales tax initiative that was done 20 years ago, and that funding is decreasing, and we're losing it every year by about $150,000 to $200,000 a year for capital improvements on our facility. Now, when I say our facility, that is your jail. It is our community jail where we house our inmates, and about 80% of them, Rick, I believe, are citizens in the city of Trinidad. So what we're here for is we took Mayor Rico, Mr. Sun on a tour of our jail facility to show them how it's crumbling, falling apart, the deficiencies that it has. And the main deficiency that it has right now is an outdated camera system. Our camera system was installed about 10 to 12 years ago, and the technology is gone. We can't even get replacement cameras for the facility anymore. And we went up to bid, and the cheapest bid I think we got in was
Around 120,000.
and this is Captain Mangino, I'm sorry, who runs the jail facility. So what we're doing here is asking if possibly the city and county start working together financially, and maybe this is a one-time stipend to help us offset our lack of funding. Now, the funding we do have available is $825,000 in that capital improvement fund. Sounds like a lot, but the jail's sinking. It's in a hole. Same thing's happening at the county courthouse. We were able to get some grants from the underfunded grant program through the courts, but that project is costing the county close to $900,000 with securing the building and the roof. We don't have that available for the jail. Those grants aren't available for that facility. And the $825,000 we do have remaining in that fund is probably going to be utilized to repair that project. So we're asking if we could possibly get a donation from the city and maybe half of the 125. The bids we had come in are no longer valid because we didn't move forward with it. So as you know, 2 or 3 months and then the bid is void. So we're procuring new bids right now. So if you would like to tell them a little bit about the camera system we're
What we have, what our issues are right now is the clarity of the pictures that we're getting, and we can't really tell what the inmates are doing because of the clarity. It's supposed to be able to record for up to 30 days for lawyers and stuff like that if they need them in court. And it's not recording like it should. To get that repaired, there's the company that put it in originally is no longer in business, and we cannot find anybody that will repair it. Our IT person that we have right now, it's costing us right around $10,000 a year just for him to keep coming back to get it up and running. So we really need the update data for the safety and security of our facility, the inmates, and our staff.
And another funding mechanism was cut in 2019. We all remember the half-cent sales tax that the district attorney went for public safety. Well, since his lawsuit against the county, last year he was funded $494,000. The rest went to public safety. Since the lawsuit, it's a full 580 right now. So the jail got cut money from that as well. So the funding is not there. The 1 cent sales tax that we have remaining over is still in court right now. El Paso County, the appellate court ruled in favor of the El Paso County District Court, but the ruling was vague. So we're still waiting for results. And we believe he's gonna, Mr. Bruce is taking it to Supreme Court, which would be great for us because then we can get some finality on it. The way the lawyers ruled were very vague. One just said, I hate Douglas Bruce, so I'll just give it back to the district court and leave it to your ruling. So they really didn't decide anything. So what the county has done as of 2 weeks ago, we put that money in an interest-bearing account until this is resolved. When that is resolved, we probably wouldn't have to be here or we'd never come back to this again. But you never know when the tables might turn. It might be the city with a downturn in revenue or economic or sales tax or marijuana if New Mexico gets approved, and where you'll be needing us to help you. So I'm glad Mayor Rico reached out to myself and Mr. Dorenkamp, and we started this dialogue. We've been meeting, I think, once a month for the past 3 months since I've been in office as the chairman. And I'd like to continue this. I think this is a great evening. Like I said, I've been here 2.5 years in office, or a little over 2 years, and I've never seen both boards talking to one another together collectively. So thank you for your time. Do you have anything else to add?
No, thank you for your time.
Thank you, brother.
What we'll do is, like I said, I know I saw the newspaper today that you still have some bid, you're asking for bids for the camera system. So once you get that, you'll have to bring it back to Greg and might have a work session on it and see if we move forward. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 5A, which is the consent agenda. Item 5A, approval of regular meeting minutes of March 19th, 2019. Item B, new hotel and restaurant liquor license application filed by GFD LLC doing business as Big Daddy's Restaurant at 443 North Commercial, and set the city limits as the tentative neighborhood boundary and set the public hearing for May the 7th, 2019 at 6 p.m. Reappointment of Sam Coker to the Board of Appeals. Is Sam here? If he's not here, that's okay also. Approval of the bills, and that total from what I gathered is $1,098,439.74. Item E, approval of the payroll, March 23rd, 2019 to April 5th, 2019. And that was $327,882.31. And that is also included in that $1 million for the people and bills.
Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Have a second?
Quick question, Mayor. Is the filer of GFT LLC here?
Yes.
Okay, okay, sorry.
That's Big Daddy right there.
I'm Big Daddy.
Oh, okay.
How are you guys?
Well,
There's,
Thanks for
there-
having me today.
there's really no comment.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we
Because
were
what we'll
here.
do is we will have this, when we do get the, hearing, public hearing, then I'd like for you to be here and we'll
I'll
this
definitely be
at that
here.
time, okay? Okay, thanks. And that will be, like I said, on May the 7th. Okay, thanks.
You know, Mr. Mayor, if I may say something, if I can, on, item C, reappointment of Sam Coker. I don't know if there was some kind of emergency or whatever come up that he's not here. That kind of deflates me a little bit when people sit on our boards and can't take 20 minutes of their time out of the day to be here tonight to just represent. And that's what I say, you know, if you're interested in a board, you're sitting on a board, you know, the proper thing to me would be present, unless there's an emergency. You know, I approve, you know, that's all I really have to say about that. I think somebody that's been appointed should have the audacity to be here for the public.
Call vote, please.
Benado,
Yes.
Goodall,
Yes.
Griego,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Matei,
Yes.
Miles,
Yes.
Rico.
Yes. Public hearings. 6A, rescheduling a public hearing for consideration of an ordinance authorizing a lease purchase arrangement for the acquisition of a new 2019 Freightliner with VersaLift truck to 6 p.m. on April the 16th, 2019. Could we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
So moved.
Mike, do you have anything you want to add to that? Just the reason why?
Yeah, basically, I'm told that, when we sent it over for publication, it kind of got missed and wasn't published properly, so we have to
That's the reason why.
republish and have the second hearing.
Okay,
Just a glitch in communication somewhere.
all right.
We're not paying for it.
Any other thoughts from council? Mr. Day, Karen? You have any questions on it?
Nope.
Any questions? Call vote, please.
Benado,
Yes.
Goodall,
Yes.
Griego,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Matei,
Yes.
Miles,
Yes.
Rico.
Yes. We have no unfinished business, which was item 7. On to item 8, miscellaneous business. 8A, consideration of reducing level 3 water restrictions to level 1 as set forth in resolution number 1518. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
Mike, you want to kind of fill us in as to how that's going to be?
Sure. Basically, we all know we finally got some snow. It's beautiful up there, the snow caps and everything. I want to temper that with what was in today's paper. You know, the county was named a disaster area because of the drought. So our North Lake and Monument Lake are near capacity. Our Trinidad Lake is near capacity, and our water shares in Trinidad Lake will fill up when we have the runoff. So the snowpack, the last I looked, was 140% of normal, when last year it was like 10%. So it's really turned around. So rather than spill the water, we should let our citizens use it, and we still want them to conserve, but the watering restrictions would be no watering during the heat of the day from 10 to 4.
Okay. Questions from Ms. Valentine? Mr. Matei?
Seems logical to me.
It seems logical that there's little part of me that knows that this water is gonna be wasted and it just.
Right. Well,
Is there anything we can do as far as PR notices to conserve water?
Sure.
You know, it's still a precious commodity. I just.
Yep.
That's something with water. Thank you.
Pardon?
I said that's something sticking with me for.
I agree completely. I could see how people would all of a sudden say, we got a ton of snow if they were gonna start washing our cars every day in the streets and things like that. is it possible maybe to go from level 3 to level 2 and gradually go, but instead of going full strength at the beginning of our spring?
So,
We never did get to level 3. We were at level 2 already, right?
No, we were level 3.
We were level 3.
Yeah.
So,
We quickly moved.
what happened?
Yeah, we did within like 3 or 4 days.
Well, it was, within a week or,
Yeah.
a 2-week period from council meeting to council meeting. What happened? When we went to that level, it seemed like people were watering because they had that time rather than, they didn't need to water. So our water consumption went up. So, I'm hoping through PR that, you know, no watering during the heat of the day, and they realize that they could water Monday, Tuesday, whenever. They can water when their lawns need it, or wash their cars and conserve still. That
So,
was,
okay, I hear you there. With these, I just want to make sure that all people are aware of like these restrictions when we do impose them again, because I'm sure it's going to happen again one day, and we know who our biggest consumers of water are. And I want to make sure that they are, you know, abiding this as well.
Sure.
Out east, when, you know, I mean, I don't know what exactly all the water use is going for, but I want to make sure though that everyone is abiding to this, not just everyone who's trying to water their grass so it stays a little greener versus dying.
Sure.
Those are my concerns, because I agree with Mr. Bernardo. This is one of our most precious resources, and it's going to be in the next 150 years, if not less.
Yep. Understood.
No comment.
I'm ready to go back to 1. I'm tired now and tell people to quit calling me. Just getting hammered.
It's just a point, like was spoken there, is that water is a precious commodity. And if we could go down level 1, and I give the credit to the citizens of Trinidad, because when we went up to that restriction, it felt like everybody abided by it. I mean, there was a few that did this and did that, but to conserve of what we conserved, and now getting the snowpack that we have, that's fine. But like I heard on the news tonight, that going into May, June, July, we don't get those spring nice storms, that water consistency could drastically drop again. So, but right now, I think we're in pretty good shape. But let's just make sure we conserve it.
I forgot to say something.
Good job, Mike.
I'm sorry, I did go up to check the lakes last week, and they are brimming full. I've never seen
Did you
more.
fish up there too?
No, I didn't bring my pole. I'm not a diehard fan, but I couldn't believe North Lake is, I don't know how much more water that lake can.
Well, it's near capacity, but, definitely need to still conserve.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know, go ahead.
If I could ask what, how's the valves in our, after we replaced them? Are those valves,
we have one.
remember how many years
Yes.
ago we replaced those? They open and close pretty good now.
Yes, they do.
That's great.
Yes.
But I know at one time, we couldn't even get them open.
Right.
And that's when you decided to push those new valves.
That's correct. So we've got new valves, and our next project is the, outlet piping, so that'll be coming soon.
Great.
My recommendation would be that when you send out the next billing cycle, or cycles, to put a note to everyone, even though the restriction has been lifted, to err on the conservation side. And then you might want to do that again probably in July.
Yeah.
That way we kind of keep it fresh in the minds of the users, so I think that would probably be a good idea.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other comments? Thank you. Call vote, please.
Thanks, Mike.
Bernardo,
Yes.
Goodall,
Yes.
Riego,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Matei,
Yes.
Miles,
Yes.
Rico.
Yes. Item 9, council reports. Mr. McKay.
Thank you. I'm sure that I don't have anything specifically to report, but I have a couple of questions and concerns, and perhaps at the time for your presentation, if you could speak to the status of the IT director. Also, it comes to mind that Departments of Human Services in the county had to reposition a number of their vehicles to the municipal lot by the police department, and as such, it's kind of haphazard parking, particularly on court days and the board of commissioner meetings. And if we could, at some appropriate time, reline that parking lot for parking spaces. And the reason I say that is there's line parking all around the perimeter, but it's kind of haphazard. And the lines add to definition, look much like coloring. The lines are our friends. But also in the center row, there was, last year when it was lined, there were two opposing positions. Now there seems to be just one, and we eliminate like 50% of those center parking places, just because there's no order, there's no rhyme or reason. It would be helpful, and it would certainly minimize a number of concerns in the attention that had been brought to me. There was also an issue about painting a crosswalk mid-block between that parking lot and the courthouse street. And I said, well, you could also go to the corners too, where it's logical to cross. But be that as it may, that's something that brought to my attention. And so long as we are talking about, I am talking about understanding the status of ongoing projects, I'd like to hear at some point the status of Monument Lake and what's going on there in terms of operation, given that Memorial Day is approaching quickly as the whole season. And all other projects, the meter exchange project, just an update in my mind, because I tend to not remember, but if we can be strategically updated on those projects that are worthy of our concern, I would be, it would help me.
Okay.
I'm not playing devil's advocate tonight, I'm just gonna play nice. I went to the Historic Main Street meeting this afternoon, and they are asking if the city can install whatever bike racks that we have prior to the comedy, Southwest Chief Comedy Inn.
We have seven there. I think we have seven.
They're asking if we can put them out prior to it. That's all I have.
I was lucky enough to go to the groundbreaking for the Noah's Ark Animal Shelter last week. Good job, citizens of Trinidad and Noah's Ark. I think that's a great move to help provide a better facility, considering our other one is in aging disrepair.
Aging, or are you talking about age? What age did
It's not getting younger, so it's getting older as we speak, so I think I spoke appropriately. But still, it's really nice to see something tangible come because of how we can be supportive up here on this dais, along with the influence of local community leaders who care about their community. So I was very proud to be just a part of that, that moment. I also have some thoughts. We're really getting some momentum going now, and I feel like a lot of projects are happening all at once. You know, Crazy French Ranch acquisition, Space to Create, the La Puerta division, the other acquisition that we may be coming upon. I saw in the bills for a land purchase. So I know that we're doing a lot of things, and I want to make sure that our staff is not overwhelmed. I want to make sure that they have enough support to do what they need to do and not go crazy. So one of the things I would like to propose is if they demonstrate that they could use another hand with somebody, let's get it to them. I don't want our people burning out, and I want them to do well and continue on this prosperous work that we've been doing. We think about you guys, I do, and I want to make sure that all the multiple hats that you wear maybe don't have to be worn all at once, because I'm sure they are sometimes. And I want to make sure that we are able to get these endeavors accomplished successfully without people, losing a lot of sleep or getting health problems. I don't want anyone getting ulcers or things like that, because these are big projects that our city staff are handling. And it's just a concern that I have. So that's all I got.
Okay. I agree with you on your latter comments, so I'll just throw my hat into that ring as well. The one thing that I want to bring up, and I haven't been much in the community this week. I've had friends visiting from back east, and I've been selling the beauties of Trinidad to them. They move here, but that's about it. I haven't been attending groundbreakings and ribbon cuttings and so forth. But the thing I would like to, sooner rather than later, put on as an agenda, and I spoke with you about this, Mayor Rico, is the election's coming upon us. And I know the last time, 2 years ago, that we went through charter revisions, proposed charter revisions. This is a charter year. It took us a long time to slog through them. So I think we need to, I have a couple of things on my mind, I'm not gonna bring them up here, but I think we need to get working on that.
I think what I would do is I would get with Greg and Audra and talk to them about that, and then we can.
Well, I'm saying maybe a session, a
Okay.
work session for council.
Okay, we can do that, we'll do that.
I'm sure others have got things
Yeah,
they're thinking of
sure,
too.
okay. Yeah, that'll happen anyhow,
We need to start figuring out how we're gonna approach, 1% sales tax, and they'll be on the ballot also, and getting out there what projects that have been accomplished through that 1 cent sales tax, and possibly our vision for what we'll be doing with it if it's approved again. I think that's gonna be big on this year's election, and I think we're getting close to the time to start promoting that. That's all I have.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you to the city staff and Mr. Sun and the mayor and this council for what they have done for the autistic groups here in Trinidad. Okay, it's a big step for us, and what my daughter presented tonight was a big step for not only Los Angeles County, but for Arenal County and for Colfax County. We're gonna have these counties combined and trying to help these children get the support they need. And not only the children, but for the parents also. And this probably wouldn't have been possible unless Soaring Eagles from Pueblo got involved with my daughter and got involved with Mr. Sun, the city staff, this council, and Mayor Rico. It's a great thing. At least these kids aren't gonna be left out, and people have to know one thing about it, is that just because you have an autistic son or daughter, doesn't mean that you can't get these kids out in the vicinity and let them be acting just like any other little boy and girl. So, Mr. Sun, the city staff, this council, Mr. Mayor, and the board of the autism, Bill, everybody, thank you so much. Thank you, guys. And thank you for wearing blue tonight. That was really wonderful.
You know, I want to start off, of course, like I said, the Noah's Ark, groundbreaking, and Ms. Creighton was there, Mr. Lopez was there, I was there, and, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. You know, and Rusty was there as well, and it was nice to see support from
And
council.
Trooper was there.
And Trooper was there.
Let's go to see Trooper.
He was the main guy, you know.
1 pound, 10 ounces to
105?
105
That's
pounds.
wow.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's nice to see that project getting off the ground, so I just want to say that. Wanted to say that, Greg and I met with Commissioner Lopez and Phil Doringkamp, it was early last week. And the whole idea behind that was like we've been talking about, is trying to see where the city and county can work together, finding common ground in areas that maybe we can work together on and support one another, which happened tonight, with that Senate Bill 181. That's kind of one of the items there. I also sent, just for your information, a letter last week acknowledging Nick DeBono's 50 years of service to the American Legion, and I felt that that was something that we should do, and I sent it on behalf of the entire city council, so just to let you know. Yeah. Amtrak seems to be, it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down, and now it's almost kind of like on a downtrend again. Amtrak has enlisted the help of the U.S. Department of Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao to phase out long-distance trains. And I don't know where it's going to go. We don't know if the Southwest Chief is going to get affected, but I'm sure that's going to be a very big item of discussion next week when I go to our meeting next Friday. So it's going to be interesting to see what the rest of the commission says, because I got this letter, I think it was like Friday, from Rick Klein from Lahaina, and he sent me the article that came out of Washington, so it's a scary deal. There is, however, a lot of resistance to her idea from some of the legislators.
we'll see what happens. Cause right now what it is the taxpayers support Amtrak by $1.5 billion yearly. Crazy. Another item, I was at the Los Angeles County Commission meeting today, and one of the things, I went there just to ask them, like a couple of weeks ago, asked for your support on that one idea that I had for an appointment of someone from the county commission side to help me out to start sorting through everything. And they're gonna bring that up at their next session as to who that appointee will be. But while I was there, and I think Greg knows about this, they are sponsoring, I think they have applied for a grant for a large playground system that's going to be going in at the Los Angeles County Fairgrounds. Have they got, I forgot to ask, did they get the grant yet?
I don't know if they got the grant. They had asked that we write a letter of support, but I didn't get any details.
They sounded pretty positive on that today.
Yeah, it's a project where you, the company provides a $30,000 piece of playground equipment, and the match is $1,500, and then it needs 200 volunteers to put it up. Wow. So it's a big project.
And they're talking about getting that erected in one day, so what they're doing is they're asking.
So the more that show up, the faster it goes up. So hopefully nobody gets nailed in the process.
Put your hard hat on, let's go.
So what we'll do is we'll keep council apprised if we want. I'm not sure what day this will happen, but if any of us can show up and to help erect the playground, I think that would be kind of neat to do. Sometimes getting together and working together like that could be kind of fun. Anthony, you brought up a question about one of the items at Monument Lake. They were not able, they came to an agreement, but they were not able to do the fishing tournament for this year because of the time frame that by the time they came to the agreement, it was too late to get some of the invitations out that they've had in the past. But I asked them to start the discussion once the Monument Lake season is over for next year. So I did get a thumbs up from, I think from one of them, I forget which one, sent me a thumbs up, but they're gonna be talking hopefully early this next, for the 2020 year. So hopefully that they can make that happen. They also talked today at the county commissioners meeting about the red flag bill, and of course, there's a lot of opposition to that. But I think right now it lies on the governor's desk. So we'll see what happens with that. So I don't know, there's a lot of opposition from the sheriff's departments all across the state.
How come there is no, what do you call it, from Los Angeles County on that? I mean, as far as debate or what, how those counties come up and say, well, we're not gonna support it, we are gonna enforce it.
Yeah.
What happened to Los Angeles County? I mean, I don't know if that question's vital, but I don't, cause when they show it on the TV, they say it's green and red ones, and then there's big Los Angeles County. And nothing, I don't know.
I don't know if any of the commissioners went up, or sometimes they can actually, you know, testify through at the college, and I don't know if they did that or not, so.
Would that be pending then, or would that?
No, that's already done, it's on the governor's desk,
Really?
for signature.
Yeah.
And I believe they did
Doesn't matter what we
testify.
said then.
I believe at least one of the commissioners testified regarding that item.
Really?
Greg?
For the, answering the one question for IT director, at this point, we are contracting, we've stepped up the contract that we have with the IT people we've been working with for quite some time, and we're also going to advertise the position. So we are moving forward with that one. Had a great meeting a week ago Thursday, I think, with Kip Hamden's people and La Puerta. I think we're really close now finally to getting a development agreement and a cost share agreement. So once we get that, we can sign the grant agreement with DOLA and get moving on this project. So I'm hopeful that we're getting close. Question on the police parking lot. Realistically, in order to stripe that lot, we're going to have to pave it.
What do you think? I understand. I'm just trying to establish a foundation for the case.
But if you've been on it, there's all sorts of aggregate that's just sticking out.
I'm on it every day.
So it needs another 2-inch mat on it to make it function right. We are also working on organizational changes after the departure of Ms. Marshall, and we had a good meeting today, so I'll be putting some information in the near future. That's all I have.
River cleanup tomorrow, right?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, sorry.
Any of you who want to help,
What time is that?
8 o'clock in the morning.
And I've got to go to tourism at 9.
And if you
so-
can't make that, you're sure welcome to lunch.
Okay.
So,
Whereabouts are you starting?
out here in the parking lot. Okay.
Do you remember the time we painted the curbs?
Yeah, yeah.
And we're calling it river cleanup, but it's really the whole downtown.
Yes.
We put people out with bags and pick up garbage throughout the downtown also, so it helps everything.
And there will be a follow-up cleanup action, just to let council know later on in May with the Trinidad Community Foundation.
Yep,
So it'll
they'll be having one, I think,
Alright.
Saturday,
Forget what they said.
it's the 7th, I think they called it.
Wasn't it snowy last year when you did it? When TSJ students, or TSJC students
We've got
came
some
out?
times when, yeah, it snowed and rained and been miserable,
You
so
just
we
never
moved
know.
it into May, so it's a lot better. Okay. Councilor.
Thank you, Mayor, council members, just real quickly. First of all, I am going to give you one more draft of the ethics code. And then it's gonna be a final draft, and then whatever your preferences would be, I can ask you individually if you would like to have another work session, or if you would like to have it as an action item for even possibly the next council meeting. Whatever your preference would be. And
Are there very many changes that you're making?
there aren't. I want all of you to be able to look at it and make sure that I've incorporated your changes, and I want to be able to discuss it with you again, but I know we've discussed it so many times. So there aren't many changes, no. And I think that all the changes that we've talked about, again, are incorporated in this draft of the code. And someone was saying to me recently, one of you was that, you know, it's a living document. Maybe it was even Greg, and it's going to be, you know, from what I have seen in my 7 years as city attorney, and the deficiencies in the old code, I have addressed. And so, insofar as it is indeed a living document, there will need to be modifications as we go. But I've done my absolute level best to incorporate everything I could in this document in terms of the ethics code and the code of conduct. So, but it doesn't mean that there aren't changes that may need to be made or things that we want to discuss or change further.
I think what we could do is we could put it on there for a final decision, and if things come up, we can always table it and have a
That'd be
move on
fine.
to a work session later
That'd be
on.
fine.
So we can do that.
Okay, so maybe the next meeting.
And the other thing too, like Lester said, is if you pass it, don't be afraid to amend it. So if a month or two later you see something that needs to be amended, just do it.
When can we expect that, sir?
I would say tomorrow.
Yeah.
I was not wanting, like I usually do, I didn't want to send it to you right before a council meeting. Oh, who's agreeing with me?
Don't write any objection, can't.
I know, that's right. I think I can do it. I think I can. So please look forward tomorrow, and I will do that. And the other thing is, this will be a really exciting council meeting if we have this on as well. I know I mentioned it to you before, but also I'll be bringing forward the new draft of the model traffic code. There aren't many. I know. That's right. Yeah. They're thinking, whatever you pay that guy, you ought to double it. Kidding. I kid. But no, so that also, there really are no substantive changes of the traffic code. We're not making it legal. I should be looking at the retired state patrolman. We're not making anything legal that was illegal before. It's just, it's important to have, you know, the more current versions of the traffic code. I was trying to be funny, and once again, I failed.
You just copied CR.
Yeah,
Well,
that's right, that's right.
Plagiarism
No,
saves time.
and actually, it wasn't me who did the plagiarizing this time. It was somebody else for that model.
Thank you for your
exactly.
efforts. Still someone
Thank
else's
you.
feelings.
But anyway, that's all I have, Mayor.
You know, last time I just thought of this on the Chamber of Commerce luncheon, June the 19th. Randy Grauberger, who is the director, our director that we hired for the Southwest Chief, will be doing the presentation
Wow.
that day. So I'll remind you again,
June
Good.
9th?
June 19th.
19th.
Convention, so, but I'll remind you again as time goes forward, but, I think that's something that, I'm sure all of us should be interested in hearing what he has to say. Okay. Okay, item 11, in executive session, as requested by Mayor Rico and Les Downs for a conference with the city's attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions under CRS section 24-6-402 4D, contractual matters and possible litigation. Motion to go into executive session.
Must have been amended.
So moved.
Second. We got first and a second. Any discussion on that? Call the vote, please.
Benado.
Yes.
Goodall.
Yes.
Griego.
Yes.
Lopez.
Yes.
Matei.
Yes.
Miles.
Yes.
Rico.
Yes. Let's go ahead and take about 5-10 minutes and we'll allow.
Yeah.